بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
رب العالمين، وأصلي وأسلم على سيدنا محمد سيد الأولين والآخرين على آله وأصحابه أجمعين. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه، ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. So inshallah, this is a halaqah of questions and answers, but I'm going to try to make the last half hour of it, or maybe 15 minutes, just about the etiquette of knowledge. And next week inshallah we're going to officially begin Bukhari. I could not begin this week because I'm far from my library, far from my home, so I did not have the comfort nor the time to kind of prepare something like that. But inshallah next week we're gonna begin. So it's just these questions that came to me during the last 2 weeks. Some of them I don't know if I have answered them before. If I have, please do tell me. So the first question was, what do we say to those who use the story of Najashey, the story of the Sahaba praying for Najashey to vote for the lesser of two evils, so to speak, to represent the Muslims in the parliament, or to be mayor? Or do we say to them, we say two ayahs and then we give the tafsir, inshallah, we give the detailed answer. The first ayah is Allah Azza wa Jalla saying, مَا لَكُمْ كَيْفَ تَحْكُمُونَ? What is wrong with you? How is it that you are judging? What are you using to judge? And the second ayah is Allah Azza wa Jalla saying to the kuffar, فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ? Where will you go? You can say whatever you want in the dunya, but in the akhirah, where will you go? They say that Najashey was fought by someone, another heir to the throne, so to speak, who wanted to overthrow Najashey. The Sahaba were in Habasha. Salama says that they were very afraid that Najashey would lose or would be overthrown, because if that was the case, the new king would not know us or know our right as Muslims, because he wouldn't be Muslim. So we were very afraid, and we prayed to Allah Azza wa Jal to give victory to Najashey. In fact, they asked someone, the Sahaba said, which one of you, the man, would go swim across the river to go and see the battle, to tell us? I presume because they would want, if Najashey would lose, that they would go back quickly to Arabia. They sent Zubair. Zubair wanted to go. He was practically one of the youngest of them all. They used a big bag, leather container. Yeah. They blew the leather container and they attached it to him, and he swam across the river so that he doesn't drown. Some riwayat say that he actually fought with the Najashey. He even went into the army. He fought against the new king, and Najashey won. So this is the summary of what they give as a proof. Inshallah, we have to comment on this. First of all, this hadith is Hasan, it's acceptable. Why? Because it's the narration of Ibn Ishaq. And Ibn Ishaq, if he says an, if he says, I narrate this on the authority of so and so, an, without saying I heard or he told me, the hadith is weak, because it's mudallis. Inshallah, next week we will talk about hadith, and we'll talk about the terminology of hadith. We'll explain what mudallis is, or tadlis. But in this narration, he said I heard. So the narration is Hasan. Why is it Hasan? Because his memory is not 100%. Ibn Ishaq is not, he's not 100%. So we accept from him the seerah, some stories, but we don't accept a hadith about fiqh, about aqidah. He makes the hadith Hasan instead of Sahih. So the hadith is acceptable. That's the kind of bottom line. However, what they fail to tell people for some reason, I don't know why, is the whole 90% of the hadith before this story. because the hadith starts, if you remember the Hijrah hadith from Salama that we went through, when she told everything from the day they went to Habasha until they came back to the Prophet ﷺ. This is just one narration of the same hadith. It's in the Musnad, many sources. It starts with Salama going with the Sahaba to Abyssinia, meeting with the Najashi, giving him Islam, Najashi accepting Islam. Then this happened. However, when you cut the story short and you say the Sahaba made dua for Najashi, you presume or you think that Najashi was kafir then. Okay. Najashi here was a Muslim. So, now that you know the details of the story being that Najashi is a Muslim king who fought a kafir, and the Sahaba made dua for a Muslim against a kafir, I think it loses credibility, the whole story. But even then, ask two questions. Is dua for a Muslim king that Allah Azza wa Jalla will give him strength and give him victory, is anything like electing people who would rule by other than the law of Allah Azza wa Jalla, or who would go into the parliament and starts being legislators? Is dua for a Muslim king anything like this? You see that here they use qiyas, they use analogy. They say, since the Sahaba prayed for Najashi, we can elect rulers by other than the rule of Allah, and we can elect legislators in the parliament because of this. So we're saying, please explain to us what's the similarity based on which you made this analogy.
Is dua for Muslim king?
Yeah, a Muslim king, so that Allah will give him victory. The same as electing someone who legislates with Allah, or electing someone who would rule by other than the rule of Allah.
You're going to explain or go into, even if it's a kafir, let's just say Najashi was a kafir, even making dua for him.
Of course, this is the first case. The first case is, he was a Muslim. The hadith itself that they use, they cut of course the last portion of it, and they give it to people. This in and of itself is tadlis. But let's forget that. Let's say that yes, he is a kafir. Let's say that he was a kafir, and he was not, by the way. Hasha lillah. He was a Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ prayed Salat al-Ghaib on him, and he said, "Today your brother in Abyssinia has died." But let's say he was a kafir at the time. He's making dua for a kafir. Yes, the Rome were defeated. The Rome, which is the Romans, the Byzantines at the time, who worshipped Isa alayhi salam, but claimed to be muwahhidun. They believed in the same prophets that we do. They're closer to us than the Persians at the time. The Persians of the time who were either Manichaeans or Zoroastrians, or people who